You know the routine.
I do.
You might wanna pull that down first so we can.
Okay, my name is Lisa Haberstock. I'm at 222 North Fifth Street, Waterville. And I came here, you know me, yeah, obviously. I come here quite often. And some of you are probably, my face is a little newer, like Nick and Scott. But, I guess back when we all started really coming here to get more involved with the data center information, I think it was maybe the November meeting, I think, is when we put in to have the moratorium started. And I know many of us wanted a 12-month, but then I think Todd, you asked me to come up and say, what did we want a moratorium for, so we could get more information and so forth. You had me come up. And at that time, it went to 6 months. And I know at the time, Mayor, it was really important to you. You said that we had a committee started and that we could start really putting, you know, putting all of our information together in a committee or some kind of a education, so we would know. So if we were approached for data centers in Waterville, that we would have some answers or would have a better feel. Where are we with that? Because I don't know where we stand with a committee or.
So there was no committee was going to be, I guess, put together, because we have a committee of council, planning commission. But what I did say, we'd have some measurable events or activities, and we've had 3 of them. Soon after that December meeting, we passed a 6-month moratorium. Within a week or 10 days, Councilmember Wayne Wagner and I and John Volken, our administrator, we drove down to New Albany and we met with those city officials and economic development directors, along with folks from Maumee, RGP, there was a Fulton County Township trustee and a city council member from Maumee and a law director, and there were a few others, I'm remembering. So we went down and got the official word from that community. And I thought it was beneficial. I thought we learned some more, I did. And then secondly, as I reported a couple meetings ago, I've been watching the House representatives in Ohio with their different legislations that are in various stages. Nothing's been decided yet on how these things will run, but just today, Governor DeWine made some statements, and I literally just peeled it off the internet, and I was going to talk about it later. But basically, he was saying, you know, let's make sure we have some dialogue and not jump to conclusions. So what am I saying? A lot of information's been shared. Tried to learn it. A few of us went to a meeting a couple weeks ago, March 31st, and for elected officials to talk about big projects, including data centers. They talked about strategic growth for data centers and regional economics, zoning and development issues with an attorney, Jeff Stopard. Somebody might remember Jeff. Jeff is an attorney. He talked about zoning issues. And then we had the economic development from Jim Roby, and it was just kind of generic. So I say there's 3 things we've done, and there's more information that we're trying to gather. But I'm saying, I think we're on track.
Okay, good. Well, where can we as an organization or an individual in the community actually, can we go online and get your feedback or see your summarization of when you went down to?
So they're in the minutes, you can see them in the minutes, but we could always do better. But I think you're the first person that has asked the question, but I repeated it 3 times that we did what we said we were gonna do. Yeah. And I'll be happy to talk to you, later or tonight. Coming here, you're gonna learn a lot about what we've done and will do.
Okay, yeah, because I just, I don't wanna, since I stood up that night and said, if we're gonna go down to 12-month moratorium to 6, we've gotta know what's happening. So I thought I better come in and, find out what is being handled, so. so.
Right, and one thing that I did have one takeaway, and certainly, Mary and Scott went to that same meeting, moratoriums are not the answer.
Oh, I know, but
The
I know.
market is the answer.
Mhm.
And so this attorney was just putting some general knowledge out there. Be careful that you rely on a moratorium, because some of the folks, some of the residents might think of that as a stopgap, and it's not. But we agreed to have these meetings, we agreed to learn more about these things, and we're doing that.
Okay,
And the last thing is, we don't have enough room in Waterville for a data center or a power center, period.
okay,
We don't.
but, and so.
And I want you to try and believe that.
Okay, you did say that you've been meeting with Waterville Township, Monclova.
I tied that into that. Let me back up, because I think sometimes I say things and people misunderstand. Long before the data center conversation, long before power center, I thought it would be a good idea. We had a newly elected official in Monclova. We have a new mayor, our neighbor, Maumee. Toby was new in Waterville Township. I said, why don't we get our leadership together, and we had a breakfast meeting, and we just talked about things in general. We talked about the walleye fest that Maumee had. As we meet again, which will be probably the end of April, schedules are just wild, we're gonna talk more about things like that, but there's not a set schedule like, data centers or power, we're not. I mean, if they come up, we'll talk about it.
Okay, well, I know you did say that you'd meet and talk with me. I can't after this meeting, but I would like to find out more about some of that stuff.
And I'll ask you this,
Mhm.
whoever's listening, who's ever taping, pick the phone up and call me, or meet me.
I have,
You have.
I have
I'm saying
called.
you, but I'm saying others.
Yeah,
because
I have called.
They get on that social media and they stir the pot with incorrect information. There's one in the back room right now that's incorrectly sending out misinformation, and it's so untrue.
Well, I think we're all trying to get our heads around.
Why don't you, not you, why don't you, who have those questions, ask people, instead of just putting it out there and just blasting incorrect information? Not you, I'm saying you in general,
Okay,
not you.
okay, but I will meet, I would like to meet with you, and we'll talk more about some of that.
All right, Lisa, thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. All right, we will, move on, and I'm gonna change